Netflix is $22, Hulu is $18, Apple TV Plus is $10, Disney Plus is $15, HBO is $10, Amazon Prime is $15, Peacock is $14. We can add more examples to this list. Dozens of different streaming platforms have emerged, and for instance, while I can access The Godfather on Netflix, I need to subscribe to another platform to watch The Godfather 2. A TV series might have 2 seasons on one platform and 2 seasons on another. Now you need to subscribe to multiple platforms just to continue to watch your favorite movies and shows. Let's say money isn't an issue for you. There is an even more frustrating aspect: getting a terrible experience despite paying. I know people who subscribe to all these platforms and more, yet they still watch pirated content. Do you know why? Because these platforms can lock your quality settings and won't let you change them. For example, Netflix can lock my TV stream to 720p even though I pay for 4K. However, when I download it illegally, I can watch it at any resolution I want. Someone who doesn't pay and pirates gets a better experience than I do despite I am paying. This isn't just limited to streaming industry, it has spread to games, software, ebooks, and educational platforms. Software that you could previously buy with a one-time payment now requires monthly subscription fees. With this subscription system, you don't own anything. Companies want you to pay monthly for everything, and you never actually own a product, you just become a renter. In this video, I'll explain why the subscription system has gotten out of hand and why each day piracy is getting justified more and more. Let me say up front that I'm not trying to defend piracy here. I've purchased hundreds of original products in the past and will continue to do so, but in my ideal world, I should get a better experience with products that I pay for compared to pirated versions. Unfortunately though, this isn't the case. Let's start with a viewer's comment to understand this why. I hadn't been without internet for a long time. Last night there was infrastructure maintenance and the internet would be down for 2 hours. I thought I'd played some games during this free time. I couldn't launch any games from Epic Games, Steam, Xbox Game Pass, Battle.net or Ubisoft Connect. It was ridiculous. The only game I could play was a pirated one I had downloaded earlier to review. I couldn't play any of the games that I paid for. I deliberately didn't use mobile data either. It really frustrated me and made me question whether I should return to my old torrenting days after years of paying for everything. If this viewer hadn't bought their games legally, they could have played them all without issues. But in today's world, when we pay for a game, we can't play it offline. Pirating provides you a better experience. It's not just about offline play. Many games come with DRM protection, and the non-pirated version without DRM runs much more smoothly. One of the most recent and significant example is Resident Evil Village. I bought this game, but someone who pirates it gets better frame rate and plays it more smoothly. If they won't let me play offline when I bought the game, then pirating is justified. Or if the pirated version gives better frame rates than my purchased copy, pirating is again justified. If you think Steam is better in this regard, think again. Steam is the king of DRM platforms. While they've had gamer-friendly approach for a long time, which I applaud, when you look at the Steam's agreement, you can clearly see that you don't actually own the games you buy from Steam. You're just renting these games and they can take them away from you at any time. If Steam shuts down today, you have no rights to your games. I wish all this was limited to the gaming industry. Let's look at the streaming sector. I wanted to watch 4K content on Netflix for $22. When I opened Netflix, I found that I was getting 720p streaming. Can I change this? No, they don't offer any interface options and I can't watch 4K content despite paying $22 monthly. Some might say, there are extensions for this. Yes, there are, but if I'm paying $22 for a subscription and still need to search Google for how to watch Netflix in 1080p or 4K and install extensions, how is this any different from piracy? Let me give you a simpler example. I am an Amazon Prime member, but I watched The Boys through piracy. You wanna know why? Because Amazon Prime doesn't provide HD resolution on Linux. Due to DRM protections, I can't watch HD content on the platform that I pay for, so I turn to piracy. Here's another simple example. If you purchase shows through PlayStation that you see on the screen, Sony announced they would remove them. This isn't even rental or subscription. These are films and shows you bought to own forever. They backed down of this decision after massive community backlash, but what if there hadn't been this outcry? Sony would have taken away access to shows and movies you bought forever. Isn't this a real theft? If I had pirated these instead of buying them from Sony, I could have watched them forever. Let's look at the software sector. Previously, you could buy Adobe software with a one-time payment and use that version forever. However, Adobe, being a greedy monopolistic company, switched to a subscription system. Now you can access these software tools for $54 per month, and the worst part, Adobe can suddenly cancel your membership without any explanation. Your membership can be suspended and you could lose your projects, and there is no one to contact. If I had used pirated Adobe software instead of paying, I wouldn't have this issue. Beyond these subscription prices, if you break your early termination agreement, they charge extra fees. They make canceling memberships as difficult as possible. For these reasons, the US Federal Trade Commission is currently suing Adobe, with results expected in coming years. This card I'm holding is a DaVinci Resolve 18 Studio card. I can use the key in the back with all DaVinci Resolve versions, including future ones. While DaVinci Resolve isn't an open source or free software, I've used their free versions for years and bought this software because they allow one-time payments. Adobe, however, I'll never buy. These issues aren't unique to Adobe. With software like Microsoft Office, AutoCAD, and many others, paying customers have worse experiences than those using pirated versions. In short, my main argument is this. When I buy a product, if I get a worse experience than someone using a pirated version, and if I can't actually own that product, then piracy is justified. Remember, the subscription model is so profitable for companies that they now want you to subscribe to everything. What's with the Twitter and Meta's blue tick subscription? Why is something previously free is now paid? Or BMW was going to make existing seat heaters subscription only before backing down due to a backlash. Imagine a company wants monthly payments just to use your car's seat heaters. Just wait a minute though, we have to look at the other side of the coin. Despite everything I have explained, our white knights will come to the comments saying that isn't stealing wrong, you're a thief, piracy kills innovation, piracy destroys artists. Are these claims actually true? No. First, let's look at what stealing and theft are. Let's say I have a grocery store and I'm selling eggs. If you come to my store and steal my carton of eggs, I can't sell those eggs anymore and I lose money. But if you copy my eggs, I lose nothing and can continue selling. It's extremely absurd to judge a truly hungry child who can't afford eggs for copying them. And copying isn't the same as stealing. And some people might really like your eggs and spread the word about your eggs, being so delicious and maybe make your eggs even more popular. Or let's look at this. If I, as the seller, take the eggs from someone who bought them and smash them on the ground, forcing the buyer to have worse experience than if they go copy the eggs, that's not theft either. Because you came to my store and bought eggs, but I'm breaking your eggs and giving you a worse experience than if you had copied them. Did you know that piracy can actually have better effects than you might think? Let's listen to what famous author Neil Gaiman says about this for 2 minutes.
And I also got very grumpy because I felt like they were pirating my stuff, that it was bad. And then I started to notice two things seemed much more significant. One of which was places where I was being pirated, particularly Russia, where people were translating my stuff into Russian and spreading it out into the world. I was selling more and more books. People were discovering me through being pirated, and then they were going out and buying the real books. And when a new book would come out in Russia, it would sell more and more copies. And I thought that was fascinating. And I tried a few experiments, and some of them were quite hard. Persuading my publisher, for example, to take one of my books and put it out for free. And we took American Gods, a book that was still selling and selling very well, and for a month they put it up completely free on their website, and you could read it and you could download it. And what happened was sales of my books went up the following month 300%. And I started to realize that actually you're not losing sales by having stuff out there. And when I give a big talk now on these kind of subjects, and people say, what about the sales that I'm losing through having stuff floating out there? I started asking audiences to just raise their hands for one question. Do you have a favorite author? And they say yes. And I say, good. What I want is for everybody who discovered their favorite author by being lent a book, put up your hands. Then anybody who discovered your favorite author by walking into a bookstore and buying a book, raise your hands. And it's probably about 5-10%, if that, of the people actually discovered an author who is their favorite author, who is the person they buy everything of, and they buy the hardbacks, and they treasure the fact that they've got this author. Very few of them bought the book. They were lent it. They were given it. They did not pay for it. And that's how they found their favorite author. And I thought, that's really all this is. It's people lending books. You can't look on that as a lost sale. It's not a lost sale. Nobody who would have bought your book is not buying it because they can find it for free. What you're actually doing is advertising. You're reaching more people. You're raising awareness. And understanding that gave me a whole new idea of the shape of copyright and of what the web was doing. Because the biggest thing the web is doing is allowing people to hear things, allowing people to read things, allowing people to see things they might never have otherwise seen. I think basically that's an incredibly good thing.
Does piracy really kill innovation? Don't people who can't afford to buy books, games, and other artistic content create a butterfly effect when they pirate this content? Wouldn't better writers or more educated people emerge from among them? If piracy is so harmful, why did authors like Neil Gaiman end up selling far more books because of it? Haven't you ever played a pirated game and then bought it and its sequels because you loved it so much? If you open your mind, piracy might not look so bad, and it might even look beneficial for the society. Let me show you the hypocrisy of companies. All these companies that demonize about theft and cry about stolen content, they themselves stole all the books and videos for AI training. They used the stolen content for their own benefit in their AI trainings. Shamelessly, they tell course that they couldn't have developed AI without using these books in their training. This is a major hypocrisy. When someone downloads an ebook from Internet Archive, they are a thief, but when big companies do it, it's innovation. My advice is to filter through your own thinking process when deciding whether to pirate software or a game. And don't fall for companies as if you pirate, you're a thief rhetoric, because they are all stealing by their own definition for their own profit. Finally, I'll repeat that I'm not trying to specifically praise piracy here, but in my book, getting a worse experience and not owning the product when I purchase it justifies piracy. I subscribe to some platforms like YouTube Premium and have bought software like DaVinci Resolve in my life. I'm not poor and I can afford to subscribe and pay, but when you give me a worse experience compared to piracy, I might go and pirate as well. Avoid subscriptions and try to buy and own your software whenever possible. In the current system, they're pushing you towards owning nothing and trying to deceive you with propaganda that this is better. Don't fall for it. By the way, while we're talking about subscription systems and bad practices, should we discuss some good practices? I recently made a video called the Linux application iceberg, where I show various great applications you should discover in an iceberg format. You can watch that video by clicking right here.